Okay, so on my concept map here I have Piaget, and all of the stuff that has to do with Piaget is in red. And then I have neuroscience and all the stuff that has to do with him, or neuroscience, not him, are in blue. And everything that has to do with Vygotsky is in green. So that's how I arrange certain things, was I put certain stuff, Piaget, certain stuff with Vygotsky, and certain stuff under neuroscience. So what goes with Piaget? And Piaget, his main mindset is active learning. So his theory of cognitive development stages are the sensory motor, concrete operational, formal operational, and pre-operational. And so these show how the mental abilities in a person changes over time. So I connected a few of his development skills to the sensory motor stage. So this one right here, and I have that connected to accommodation and assimilation. So accommodation is what you, So assimilation is understanding the object, and accommodation is modifying the scheme in the new development, or the new experience. So this is what you already know, this is what you're adding in. So for Vygotsky, I have his sociocultural theory relates interactions between children and more knowledgeable members of society, and that connects to a co-constructed process, which are processes that are internalized by the child that becomes part of their cognitive process. And I connect that to cultural tools, so tools that help people communicate, think, solve, and create, which are similar to psychological tools that mediate cognitive actions. So, and then I have connecting to that is private speech, which is an example of the tools, and that's like how a child talks to himself to help understand certain concepts. And then I connected that to the zone of proximal development, because these things are gonna help a child go from his stage to another stage to another stage and keep building with that. Okay, so what connects between Vygotsky and Piaget? So I connected concrete operational with co-constructed process, because concrete operational is organized thought, and co-constructed process is internalized cognitive process, which is your thoughts. So I have those two connected. And then I have formal operational connected to cultural tools, because with formal operational, you're thinking and manipulating abstract thought, and cultural tools are tools that are used to think and solve problems. So very similar basis there. So then I have also connected zone of proximal development to accommodation and assimilation, because accommodation and assimilation are going to help change your zone of proximal development over time. And how I have neuroscience connecting to certain things, it connects to Piaget and these areas right here, which are nature, synapses, sensitive period, critical periods, continuity, and cross-learning. So I have nature, that's the genetic process, so that has to do with Piaget. Synapses help the nerve cells make connections, so that has to do with his stages of development. Sensitive and critical periods are this is a weird word to say, is it maturing stages? And so that has to do with that too. And these periods, your brain is making connections, so again, having to do with the stages. And then continuity is the operation over time, and so his stages again. And then cross-learning is approaching knowledge in different ways, so accommodation and assimilation. And how I have them connecting to Vygotsky is nurture, and that's how one is raised, and connects to the tools of learning and how things change. Plasticity, how a brain changes over time, and that has to do with zone of proximal development as well. Continuity, break in the sequence, learning things differently. And then connections within neuroscience I have are the critical and sensitive periods. That has to do with plasticity, because they both have to do with how your brain changes and how things change over time. And then, and also with your zone of proximal development right there. And then myelination protects the axon, which are also in neurons, synapses, all of that axons. So myelination protects axon, which are synapses that are connected to the neurons and transmitting information.